Hi and welcome to Chris Ryan Golf. We are once again at the Belfry. We are in the TaylorMade Performance Suite, and the video today is based around the subject of ball flight and looking at some of the reasons that may cause you, the golfer, to have a lower ball flight with your irons. Now, just before we get into that video, if you would like to connect with me, maybe send me some messages or sort of maybe have some input into these videos, then please go ahead and follow me on my social media platforms. The details are down there in the corner of the screen. So you've got Instagram, you've got Twitter, and you've got Facebook. So you can follow me or sort of like my Facebook page, and it's just going to allow you to interact a little bit more with myself, find out maybe a little bit more what I do sort of day to day here at the Belfry, and as I say, you can maybe suggest some videos that you'd like me to film going forward. It would be really, really good to get your input and actually do some videos on the subjects that you choose. So any ideas on what you'd like me to film, you can post them on those forums there, or even in the comments box down below in this video. Right, so let's get into the video. Ball flight. We are looking at the irons, and we're looking, as I said, at a low ball flight. So this video is a result of a few of the comments I've had on YouTube and golfers who are maybe struggling with a ball flight which is too low with their irons. Now in this video we're going to look at 3 reasons why that could be the case. What you need to do as the golfer is, following this video, maybe go away, go to the practice area and start to experiment or start to figure out which of these 3 is causing your low ball flight. Once you know that, you can then start to put some measures and some steps in place which are going to hopefully help you hit that ball on a better trajectory, which is generally going to help you play the courses a little bit better, maybe allow you to get closer to some of the flags that you maybe can't do now. So the first one is all to do with contact point. So we're looking at the iron club, and what we know is that there is quite a bit of movement in the golf club when the ball makes contact and impact. So if we don't quite hit the middle of the club, then the club will have a reaction to that. So the middle of the golf club with an iron is around about 4 to 5 grooves up from the bottom. Initially, when we sort of show golfers where that middle is, it's often a little higher in the club face than they would maybe instinctively believe. So if we do hit the ball from the middle, we're going to get the optimum performance from that golf club. If you start to strike your golf ball from a little bit lower than the centre, that's going to have a couple of different effects. It's going to slow the golf ball down. It means how fast that golf ball leaves the club is going to be a little bit more reduced. It also means that you're probably going to launch the ball significantly lower than you would if you were to strike the ball a little bit higher in the club face. So straight away we've got our first point there. Golfers who are striking the ball too low in the club face will find they have a much lower takeoff angle. If the takeoff angle is much lower, that's generally going to result in a ball flight which is too low, unless that ball spins excessively and climbs into the air, but that doesn't really happen with the golf balls that we use in today's game. So the first thing I want you to do is double check your strike. So I'm just going to hit a shot here. I've got a 6 iron. I'm just going to make a normal sort of golf swing. Okay. Now for me that was about the ball flight I'd expect, and that strike felt pretty good. If you've got access to some face tape, that's going to really help you, because that's going to give you some real visuals as to where that ball made contact. So the first thing I want you to do is go to the driving range, try and get some face tape, or maybe even some cello tape on the club face, or even some masking tape, anything that's going to leave a mark, and go ahead and hit 5 to 10 shots. Have a look at where that strike point is and see whether it's 4 or 5 grooves up or whether it's a little bit below that. If it is a little bit below that, there's your first thing that you need to address, is the contact. If you are striking that ball too low in the club face, there is a very, very good chance that you are approaching the golf ball with an attack angle which is too shallow. That means that the golf club is too close to the ground too early, and we do not strike enough down on the golf ball. Those are the main things that are going to cause that contact to be too low. They may feel a little bit strange. They may feel that they're not quite centered. You may have some sort of vibrations going through your hands which comes up the golf club. Okay? If you are feeling that's you need to feel that you're probably shifting a little bit more weight, a little bit more pressure through that lead side as you start the downswing, trying to feel that your pelvis moves a little bit more laterally towards the target. That's going to help you deliver the handle a little bit more forwards. That in turn is going to help that strike point go a little bit more at the club face. Okay, so there's our first reason that you could be hitting it low, strike point. Number 2, or the second reason, is what we call dynamic loft. Now dynamic loft is really, really important that we understand this in the golf swing. I have got a 6 iron here. This 6 iron is going to have about 30 to 31 degrees of loft depending on the make and the model of your golf clubs. 30 degrees, okay? That is what the manufacturer has put onto this golf club. So TaylorMade has built this golf club with 30 degrees of loft. In reality, that number it doesn't mean anything, okay? What does mean something is what we present to the ball. So for example, that club has only got 30 degrees of loft when the club shaft is vertical. If I was to lean, I should say, the club shaft forward like this, you can see how that golf club has now got probably pretty close to 0 degree loft. So if I was to present the club to the ball in this fashion here, okay, you can see how that would be a 0 lofted golf club, okay? So dynamically, I've presented 0 degrees of loft. So the loft that's built on the club is really irrelevant. We're wanting to look at what you, the golfer, delivers to the golf ball. So I do see lots of golfers where they are trapping the loft off the golf club. They are presenting a loft which is too low for the club that they've got. What that will do is it will result again in a lower launch angle and an overall lower flight. Now those golfers generally, and we are talking generally here, will have the club face during the golf swing significantly shut, okay? So it's too much twisted to your left. What that does is it effectively closes the club face. Once it closes the club face, if I do it from this angle here, if I close the club face significantly, okay, the only way I can hit a golf ball which is going to go about straight is to present an impact where my hands are significantly forwards. So I've now managed to square the face, but I've now got a very, very reduced lofted golf club. So if you feel like you're striking it well, but your ball flight is still low, have a look at your dynamic loft. Very difficult to do that. You need sort of TrackMan or flight scope to actually measure it, but you can start to look at that. Have you got the golf club shut during your golf swing, which means that you have to have the handle excessively forwards to ensure that you hit the ball straight. It's probably the best option, because if you don't have the hands forward, it'll go left, but it might give you that lower ball flight. So that's the second reason. The third reason that you might hit that ball low with the irons is down to speed, okay? There are many, many things which go towards creating a ball flight. We've got the launch angle, we've got the spin, we've got the actual type of golf ball used, even the conditions can play a part. One of the biggest factors in contributing to the height is the speed that the golf ball has, okay? If I make 2 golf swings, and I'm going to try and replicate a pretty similar impact position on both swings. First one is going to be my full swing. Okay, so that's a full 6-iron for me. Now I know with my 6-iron, the ball comes off the club face at about 130 miles an hour. I'm going to do another swing. I'm going to try and replicate the same impact, but I'm going to reduce my swing speed considerably. Okay, so you can see a much slower swing speed. Now obviously you can't see the ball flight from where that camera is positioned, but the second one was a much, much lower ball flight, okay? If we were to get 2 golf balls which took off at the same angle, so let's say it's 20 degrees for argument's sake, 2 golf balls taking off at the same angle, 20 degrees. One golf ball has got significantly more speed. What will happen is the golf ball with a lower speed will drop out the sky much quicker. The other golf ball which has got the greater speed will continue to climb and rise for a longer period of time, therefore the overall shot height will be much greater. So there are many golfers out there who are actually hitting the ball maybe lower than they would like, simply because they don't have enough speed to get that ball to an apex point, which would be what they kind of desire, okay? Unfortunately, if that is you, it's not a technical thing, it's just a case of actually trying to generate a little bit more club speed, which in turn will generate a little bit more ball speed. The final point, which is not technical, is it's just equipment. You could potentially have a golf club which isn't quite right for you. Maybe the shaft is too stiff, too heavy, maybe the lofts aren't right for you, whatever it may be. So if you find that you're still struggling with the ball flight, make sure you get fitted, make sure you get your equipment checked. That can have a big influence on how far that ball, or how high that ball goes, okay? So I'm gonna hit a couple more for you, but there's 3 really things I want you to look at. It's the strike point, it's the loft that you're presenting to the ball, and it's the speed that you're putting into that golf ball. Okay, that was a pretty good strike. The loft that I presented was about right, and the trajectory was as I wanted. So if you can start to address these things, maybe start to go away and experiment with those and start to have a look at which of those 3 things you might be doing wrong, you can say you start to put a few measures in place, a few steps in place to improve that. And again, a pretty good flight there. So if you feel that you are the kind of golfer who has got potentially a ball flight which is too low, and you feel like that needs a bit of work and you need to address that, hopefully that video will help. It'll give you a bit of an insight as to what you might be doing. go to the driving range, experiment with those ideas, see which category you fall into, and I say then it allows you to start to put a few measures in place, a few steps in place to improve that. So thank you very much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you've got any comments on this video or any other videos, you can post those in the boxes down below. It'd be interesting to get your thoughts. There's also a link in my description box which is going to take you to a subscription page which will allow you to subscribe to my channel for free, and it just means that you won't miss any of the videos that I'm uploading. Okay, so thanks again for watching, and hopefully I'll see you again next time.